Welcome to the True Tomorrows podcast. Get ready for your weekly science fiction probe into wild galactic tales ripped from the pages of flash fiction.
Oh, I like that. Science fiction probe. It's very catchy.
Well, thank you. I thought so. This week, we're going to dive into two epic flash fiction stories that explore fascinating themes of galactic empires, hidden conspiracies, and the compelling resurgence of legendary heroes.
Okay. All within the concise format of flash fiction.
All within the concise format of flash fiction. In sprawling spacefaring settings.
I'm so ready.
Buckle up. This should be a thrilling exploration.
I'm buckled.
Remember to rate and follow for more captivating True Tomorrows. So let's launch our science fiction probe with the first flash fiction story, The Galactic Empress.
Okay.
You're immediately immersed in what appears to be a flourishing Viridian dynasty under the seemingly very capable rule of Empress Aeliana.
Empress Aeliana.
Right. We're present at this grand celebratory gala, and while everything on the surface gleams with prosperity, there's this subtle undercurrent of disquiet from the very beginning, isn't there?
Yeah, I see what you mean. The author really sets up that dual atmosphere from the start.
Right.
You've got, on the one hand, you've got that vivid imagery of Empress Aeliana's regal presence.
Right.
And the sort of bustling energy of the celebratory hall. It's like everything suggests a kingdom at its like absolute zenith,
Right.
you know? But then that opening line.
Yeah.
But even the brightest star couldn't dispel the creeping shadows of doubt. It kind of like, it cuts through all that, you know, immediately introduces that layer of complexity. It hints that appearances can be deceiving,
Totally.
that stability might be fragile.
And then the narrative just swiftly introduces the catalyst for the unfolding drama. Lord Caius's arrival with that encrypted message.
Yeah.
It kind of suggests an imminent threat to Aeliana's authority. But her initial reaction is to dismiss it. Maybe is just another baseless rumor or political maneuver.
Oh, totally.
It's a classic narrative setup, isn't it? You know, where a crucial warning is initially disregarded.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It creates a strong sense of dramatic irony. You know, for us as listeners, we become aware of the potential danger that the protagonist is overlooking.
Yeah.
And Caius's insistence that this one seems different adds so much weight to his warning.
Right.
And it really prompts us to question, you know, the Empress's judgment and to anticipate future complications.
Right.
Makes you think about, you know, leadership, like when to heed warnings and when to trust in the stability you've built.
Right. And those complications do indeed arise. And rapidly. We see a series of unsettling, inexplicable accidents plaguing the empire.
Okay.
The sudden food shortage.
Wow.
The critical fleet malfunction.
That's not good.
Yeah. Culminating in the shocking assassination of Lady Sarah, someone clearly close to Aeliana.
Oh, no.
It's the discovery of that cryptic symbol on her body that really shifts the nature of the threat. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because while the initial incidents, I mean, you could dismiss them as you know, just unfortunate coincidences or isolated failures, you know.
Right.
But the assassination marked by that distinct symbol, I mean, come on.
Right.
That signals a deliberate and coordinated effort.
Yeah.
It elevates the stakes. It totally transforms the narrative from one of potential kind of systemic issues to one of a targeted, malevolent force at work.
Yeah.
And that symbol becomes like this really powerful visual cue representing this unknown and dangerous enemy.
Which leads directly to Lord Caius revealing the chilling truth about the Shadow Veil.
The Shadow Veil.
This ancient, supposedly defunct secret society.
Oh.
Now resurfacing with the ominous goal of nothing less than galactic domination.
Oh, my gosh.
The idea of a hidden enemy pulling the strings is a pretty compelling and enduring trope in storytelling.
Yeah, it is.
What makes it so effective here, do you think?
I think the effectiveness lies in its ability to generate suspense and paranoia. Because you don't know who they are. You know, this unknown nature of the threat operating in the shadows makes it feel so pervasive, inescapable.
Yeah.
And in this particular story, you know, the Shadow Veil's history as a supposedly extinct organization, I mean, that adds another layer to the intrigue. Suggests a long-term patient plan, making their resurgence all the more unsettling. It makes you think, you know, like how past threats can just be lying dormant, waiting to reemerge. to destabilize the present.
And what's fascinating is the clear shift we see in Aeliana's demeanor following this revelation. She moves decisively from skepticism to a very steely resolve.
Yeah.
The realization that her empire is genuinely imperiled seems to galvanize her.
Yeah.
And her decision to launch a clandestine investigation, placing her trust in no one, underscores the gravity of the situation and her isolation at the pinnacle of power.
Absolutely. I think it highlights, a key aspect of leadership in these times of crisis, the burden of responsibility and the difficulty of knowing who to trust when faced with internal threats.
Right.
Aeliana's isolation.
Yeah.
It emphasizes the precariousness of her position.
Yeah.
Even as, an all-powerful empress, raises the question, how do you lead when the very foundations of your authority are being undermined from within?
And that initial investigation hits wall after wall.
Oh, no.
Leading to frustrating dead ends.
Yeah.
And this lack of progress only serves to heighten the suspicion and mistrust within her own council.
Of course.
Right. It's this pressure from all sides that compels Aeliana to adopt that incredibly audacious plan to infiltrate her own enemies.
Wow.
Truly a significant gamble.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a testament to her adaptability.
Yeah.
And her willingness to think outside the box, to go beyond traditional methods of governance.
Right.
She's facing an invisible enemy.
Right.
So she recognizes the need for unconventional tactics.
Yeah.
And so this decision to actively engage with the threat, at its source, rather than waiting and reacting, it demonstrates a proactive and maybe even desperate approach to leadership.
Yeah, and that risky gambit immediately throws her into mortal danger with that ambush.
Oh, no.
It's a brutal awakening to just how deeply entrenched and well-informed the Shadow Veil truly is.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't just a minor dissident group.
Right.
They wield significant power and influence.
So that ambush serves as like this stark and violent confirmation of their capabilities.
Yeah.
Really underscores their intelligence network, the resources they have.
Right.
It reveals that Aeliana is facing a far more formidable foe than she initially imagined. And this setback, it forces her to reassess her strategy.
Right.
And consider even more unconventional alliances.
Which leads us to that unexpected and arguably desperate alliance with the rebel leader, Kyla.
Wow, okay.
I mean, think about that dynamic.
Yeah.
You've got two factions with a history of conflict.
Yeah.
Now forced to cooperate against this common greater threat. I mean, that initial meeting must have been charged with tension.
Oh, totally.
Right, and mutual suspicion.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative really does a good job of portraying that friction, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Kyla's skepticism is completely justified, given the history of conflict between the rebels and the Viridian dynasty. And so Aeliana's willingness to just set aside those past grievances and to acknowledge the shared danger, I think it's crucial for forging that partnership.
Yeah.
Really speaks to the idea that, in the face of overwhelming threats, even these long-standing animosities can be overcome out of necessity.
And against all odds, this uneasy alliance begins to yield tangible results.
Oh, good.
They uncover those clandestine meetings.
Okay.
They decipher the coded messages.
Right.
They're finally getting closer to the core of this conspiracy.
Yeah.
But then comes that shocking betrayal. Aeliana's capture and the stunning revelation of High Councillor Merrick as the orchestrator. Did you see that coming?
I have to say no. That was it's a really effective plot twist, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, his position, Merrick, as the High Councillor, presumed loyalty, just makes the betrayal, so much more impactful.
Right.
It underscores a recurring theme in narratives about power. That the most dangerous threats can often come from within the inner circle of trust.
It's a great point.
And his motivation, classic, hunger for power.
Yeah.
While familiar, it gains potency through his deceptive facade.
Right. Just when you think Aeliana has reached her lowest point, imprisoned, facing certain defeat, that inner strength resurfaces.
Okay.
She refuses to succumb to despair. And then that unexpected rescue by a rebel infiltrator disguised as a guard offers this sliver of hope in the overwhelming darkness.
I like that. It provides this critical turning point, in the narrative. It signifies that even within the enemy's ranks, there are people who believe in justice, and they're willing to take significant risks to oppose tyranny.
Right.
Right. This act of defiance, it reignites the possibility of victory. It underscores the idea that even in the most oppressive systems, there are seeds of rebellion.
And what follows is this empire-wide eruption of open warfare.
Wow.
Culminating in that inevitable confrontation between Aeliana and Merrick. It's the classic hero versus villain showdown.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Aeliana prevails. You might think that's the climax.
Right.
But the Shadow Veil has one last terrifying gambit.
What's that?
The deployment of that colossal starship. The Eclipse.
The Eclipse?
The Eclipse.
Okay. The introduction of the Eclipse really takes things to a whole new level.
Right.
It's presented as this weapon of immense destructive capability.
Right.
Right? It shifts the stakes. You go from a political conspiracy to a full-blown military crisis.
Right.
And so the desperate retreat.
Right.
And then the subsequent almost impossible plan to target its seemingly invulnerable exhaust port, it creates like a real thrilling final act of defiance.
That final assault on the Eclipse is just gripping. This small band of heroes daring to attack this behemoth of a warship.
I can't wait to hear this.
The targeting of that single vulnerable exhaust port feels like like a classic underdog scenario played out on a galactic scale.
Oh, I love it.
And when the Eclipse is finally destroyed, it's a monumental victory.
Right.
But as the narrative reminds us, it comes at a significant cost.
Of course, yeah. The story doesn't shy away from that,
Yeah.
The heavy toll of conflict, emphasizing that even in triumph, there is loss. And the need for healing, rebuilding.
Right.
Aeliana's victory, it's not absolute.
Right.
It is tempered by the sacrifices made and the impact of the war on her empire.
Right.
This adds a layer of realism and depth to the resolution.
The flash fiction story concludes with Aeliana's resolute determination to rebuild her shattered empire and lead it toward a more unified and stronger future.
I like it.
It's an ending filled with hope, but one that acknowledges those deep scars left by conflict. A really powerful narrative about resilience, leadership, and the enduring fight against hidden threats.
I agree. It leaves you thinking, about the ongoing challenges of leadership in such a vast and complex galaxy, suggesting that vigilance and adaptability are constant necessities for those in power.
Right.
Aeliana's journey, I think it underscores the idea that maintaining peace and stability requires continuous effort and a willingness to confront threats in whatever form they may emerge.
All right, let's shift our science fiction probe now to our second flash fiction story, Achilles in Space. This narrative takes, this legendary figure from ancient myth.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And reimagines him.
Okay.
In a science fiction context. We find Achilles on Thessaly IV.
Thessaly IV.
Described as a haven of tranquility.
Oh, nice.
Where he has intentionally retreated from his celebrated warrior past.
I see.
It's a pretty stark contrast to the turbulent setting of our first story.
It's interesting. I think it's a deliberate juxtaposition by the author,
Right.
The idyllic portrayal of Thessaly IV
Yeah.
and Achilles' pursuit of peace. I think it immediately establishes his desire to shed that warrior identity.
Right.
And to embrace a life of serenity. And of course, this sets the stage for the inevitable disruption of that peace and the internal conflict he will face.
And that hard-won peace is shattered by the sudden arrival of a distress beacon.
Oh.
From a neighboring planet, under siege by the ruthless warlord Cronus.
Oh, no.
Achilles' initial reaction is one of resolute refusal to get involved. He believes he has earned his retirement from violence.
I mean, his reluctance is completely understandable.
Yeah.
Right? After a life defined by conflict, his desire for peace is, a natural and relatable human aspiration.
Right.
This initial resistance highlights, I think, the central theme of the story.
Yeah.
The struggle to reconcile a celebrated past with a desired future. And, the question of whether a warrior can ever truly lay down their arms.
Then, in classic mythological trope, the Oracle appears, bringing with her the weight of prophecy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And imploring Achilles to embrace his destiny and confront Cronus.
Right.
But Achilles remains steadfast in his refusal, even expressing a specific premonition about his own death.
Oh.
In space.
In space.
It's as if he senses the danger inherent in returning to his former life.
The Oracle's intervention really emphasizes the theme of destiny versus free will, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because despite his desire for a new path, the pole of his legendary past. Yeah. And the oracle's pronouncements suggest a predetermined course. Yeah. And Achilles' premonition about dying in space. Yeah. It just adds this layer of tragic irony. Right. Foreshadowing potential events. Yeah. Emphasizing his deep-seated fear of a particular fate.
Right. And then tragedy strikes.
Oh.
Cronus' forces descend upon Thessaly IV, unleashing devastating destruction upon Achilles' village, and most poignantly, killing his friend.
Oh my God.
This personal loss acts as the ultimate catalyst, igniting his dormant rage, compelling him to reclaim the warrior identity that he had sought to abandon.
I think it's interesting how that personal devastation serves as the turning point for him.
Right.
It transforms the conflict from this external threat to his personal vendetta. The destruction of his sanctuary and the loss of a loved one, it strips away his desire for peace and reignites the fire of his warrior spirit. It leaves him with nothing left to lose, but everything to avenge.
We then witness that, iconic moment, Achilles unearthing his legendary armor.
Yeah.
Boarding his starship, the Myrmidon, accompanied by his loyal crew.
The Myrmidon, I like it.
Setting a course for Cronus.
Right.
His vow of revenge hanging heavy in the air.
Yeah.
It's a powerful image of, hero's return, now framed within a science fiction context.
It really is. That imagery of him donning his ancient armor in a futuristic setting, it creates, it's visually striking.
Yeah.
It symbolizes the enduring nature of his warrior spirit across different eras.
Right.
The loyalty of his crew, it underscores his past glory.
Right.
And the respect that he commands, even after all these years of self-imposed exile.
The journey on the Myrmidon is fraught with tension.
Yeah.
The navigator Thetis warns him of Cronus' formidable power, yet Achilles remains resolute. The prophecy of his death in space, seemingly unable to deter him. His focus on revenge at this point is absolute.
It's interesting how, despite the ominous prophecy and the warnings, Achilles' commitment to his mission overrides everything. His desire for revenge is stronger than any lingering fear or doubt. It shows the influence of grief and the determination that can drive a warrior.
Their initial confrontation with Cronus on the besieged planet doesn't go as expected. While Achilles initially demonstrates his legendary combat prowess. Cronus reveals a significant advantage, a powerful weapon capable of piercing Achilles' seemingly impenetrable armor, forcing a tactical retreat.
Oh, no.
This isn't the invincible hero of old, at least not in this new context.
Right, and so I think this defeat is a crucial turning point in Achilles' journey because it shatters the illusion of invincibility.
Right.
In this new technological landscape.
Right.
Forces him to confront his limitations, realizes that his past glory and individual skill might not be sufficient to overcome this new adversary.
Right.
And this really sets the stage for him needing to adapt and seek external assistance.
Which leads to this, pretty significant decision, the need to seek allies across the vastness of the galaxy. For someone like Achilles, for a figure as proud and self-reliant as Achilles, admitting the need for help must have been a difficult but ultimately strategic choice.
I think it shows, a crucial aspect of leadership, and growth.
Yeah.
The recognition of one's own limitations. Right. And the willingness to collaborate to achieve a goal.
Right.
Achilles' decision to seek allies really showcases his adaptability and understanding that a united front will be necessary to defeat Cronus.
Right.
It moves him beyond the archetype of the lone hero.
Right. And slowly planets begin to respond to his call, forming a, diverse and perhaps unlikely coalition fleet. This really speaks to the enduring power of his legend.
Right.
And the hope he inspires, even in these unfamiliar corners of the galaxy.
I think the formation of this coalition underscores the impact of reputation.
Yeah.
And the universal desire for liberation from tyranny.
Right.
Achilles' past heroic deeds, they still resonate.
Right.
They inspire others to join his cause and to fight against Cronus' oppressive regime.
And the ensuing battle in the Orion Nebula is depicted as this grand, epic space engagement.
Oh, cool.
Achilles delivers this inspiring address to the assembled fleet.
Oh, wow.
Very reminiscent of, classic military orations.
Yeah.
It's a scene that evokes the scale and drama of grand space opera.
It's so interesting how that scene amplifies the heroic nature of the conflict.
Yeah.
Achilles' speech, it acts as this unifying force. It's classic, really.
Right.
It's a classic narrative device to elevate the stakes and inspire action.
But just when it seems the tide might be turning, Cronus unleashes this devastating secret weapon.
Oh.
A gravitational pulse that throws the entire coalition fleet into chaos, inflicting heavy losses.
Oh, man.
It's a stark reminder of Cronus's, ruthlessness and technological superiority.
So the deployment of that weapon shows us, his cunning and his willingness to employ, devastating tactics. It's a major setback. For Achilles and the coalition, underscores the challenge they still face and the unpredictable nature of warfare.
In a desperate and, perhaps reckless move, Achilles leads a boarding action directly onto Cronus's flagship.
Wow.
It's a fierce and personal confrontation, but once again, Cronus gains the upper hand, overpowering and capturing Achilles and the Myrmidon as well.
Oh.
At this point, the situation looks pretty dire.
I mean, Achilles captures a low point, isn't it?
Yeah.
The legendary hero, twice defeated, now imprisoned, seems to have met his match.
Right.
Cronus's gloating further emphasizes, Achilles' apparent downfall.
Right.
And the insurmountable odds.
But then a glimmer of hope emerges in the form of a sympathetic guard.
Oh, okay.
Within Cronus's ship.
Oh, all right.
This unexpected ally secretly aids Achilles.
Okay.
And provides him with vital information regarding Cronus's next target, Thessaly the Firth.
Oh, wow.
It's a crucial lifeline in the darkness.
The intervention of that sympathetic guard is, it's a vital plot twist.
Right. Yeah.
It injects a renewed sense of possibility into the narrative.
Right.
It suggests that even within, the ranks of the oppressor, there can be dissent, a yearning for justice, and the information about Thessaly the First, it becomes the key to Achilles' potential redemption and the defense of his home.
Exploiting this opportunity, Achilles stages a daring escape.
Okay.
Races back to Thessaly the Firth just in the nick of time to warn his people and help them prepare their defenses for Cronus's impending attack.
It's a race against time.
It really is.
With everything he holds dear at stake.
And the subsequent defense of Thessaly el Faith is depicted as this fierce and determined planet-side battle.
Oh, wow.
Achilles once again leads the charge, now not just as the legendary warrior, but as a protector of his own people. It's a different kind of leadership.
I think the shift to, a ground-based battle allows for a more intimate and visceral portrayal of the conflict.
Yeah.
Achilles fighting alongside his people, it really shows his commitment to their safety.
Right.
And his evolution from a lone warrior seeking revenge to a leader responsible for the well-being of his community.
And the climactic confrontation between Achilles and Cronus occurs once more, but this time armed with the stolen information.
Okay.
Achilles manages to defeat his seemingly invincible foe, but then in a surprising act of restraint, he makes the conscious decision to spare Cronus's life. What do you make of that?
Oh, it's interesting. I think Achilles' decision to show mercy represents a significant moment of, character development.
Right.
It suggests a move beyond this cycle of vengeance.
Right.
And a potential embrace of a more enlightened form of leadership.
Right.
It raises questions about the nature of justice and whether true victory lies in annihilation or in the possibility of reconciliation.
But Cronus, true to his ruthless nature, has one final devastating act of vengeance planned. He triggers the self-destruct mechanism on his flagship, threatening to obliterate Thessaly Soft in a final act of spite.
No.
I know.
So this last act of desperation from Cronus, it really shows his, unwavering villainy.
Right.
Raises the tension to a peak.
It really does.
Demonstrates that even in defeat, a ruthless adversary can still pose a threat.
Right.
So the hero has to make one last, potentially fatal choice.
And in a moment of ultimate heroism, Achilles boards the rapidly deteriorating flagship.
Oh, wow.
Frantically attempting to disarm the self-destruct. Realizing the imminent collision, he, with the unexpected assistance of the guard, manages to steer the ship just far enough away from Thessaly the Faith to avert planetary destruction, sacrificing himself in the process, a truly selfless act.
It really solidifies his transformation, doesn't it?
It does.
From a warrior driven by revenge to a true hero.
Yeah.
Willing to sacrifice everything for his people.
Yeah.
It fulfills the prophecy of his death in space, but reframes it as heroism rather than defeat.
And the story concludes with Achilles' triumphant return to Thessaly V, having narrowly escaped death, greeted as a true hero.
Yeah.
He makes the inspiring decision to embark on this new journey, not of conquest, but of spreading peace and unity throughout the fractured galaxy.
I love it.
It's a hopeful and fitting culmination.
It's a very satisfying resolution, isn't it?
It is.
Where he embraces this new purpose.
Right.
One that aligns with the peace that he initially sought. But now he understands that he must actively pursue it.
Yeah.
He transcends his warrior past and becomes a symbol of hope, a force for positive change.
What incredible flash fiction stories we've explored. In the Galactic Empress, we saw an Empress confronting a shadowy internal conspiracy. And in Achilles in Space, a legendary warrior was compelled out of retirement to face a tyrannical warlord.
Right.
What resonated most with you about either Empress Aeliana's resilience or Achilles' pretty profound transformation?
For me, with Aeliana, I was really struck by her adaptability.
Yeah.
And her willingness to forge alliances with former adversaries, when the survival of her empire was on the line.
Right.
She showed that true leadership requires, pragmatism, the ability to transcend boundaries. As for Achilles, I found his journey from, seeking personal vengeance to selfless hero dedicated to galactic peace. Host speaker.